probably the thing which has actually been working most successfully for us. We have that opportunity through all of our digital outlets, whereby we know exactly what people are searching for, and when they're searching for those titles, we can serve up the ads, and we continue to feed them exactly what they're looking for. And the other side of it, I think, is that obviously as content distributors and big studios, we have a job to do, but the platforms that we're working with also have a big job to do. It's equally as important for an Apple or a Vudu or an Xbox or whichever platform you're working with, that they have to make sure that they're creating their point of difference for their own platforms. And so working hand in hand in partnerships is actually something that's worked very successfully. And at the Walt Disney Studio, what we tend to do is plan that pre-theatrical, maybe 6 to 8 months out pre-theatrical, and we plan what happens pre-theatrically, then post-theatrical, and we're actually planning each step of the way, all the way through to the downstream windows. And that has actually been the most successful model that we've seen. Creating content and continuing to deliver content to that customer every 2 to 3 months, and always creating a point of difference and a point of reason for someone to keep coming back.
And Lydia, prior to the exclusive announcement that you just made, I guess the thing that was most recent was Halo 4 and Forward Unto Dawn, and I guess to some of the preceding comments, great intellectual property, never been exploited on a digital platform in that fashion before. But how much of this did you take into consideration as you were making it and distributing it?
A tremendous amount. Previous to working on Halo, I had been at Warner Brothers, kind of in the Borg, if you will, having to deal with all of the, I get this window and that window and on and on. And one of the really magical things about working with 343, which is the studio within Microsoft that makes Halo, is we got to do exactly everything that we thought was right for the audience. So the idea that, and I should say also with Machinima, who were great partners in that release, but we had the opportunity to kind of rethink what our consumer proposition was in advance of this amazing game that was coming out. So for us, we were essentially making a digital movie, if you will, at a fairly high budget level and at a fairly high creative goal. And we were able to take all of those windows and rather than have 6 to 8 months, exploit everything we possibly could in 4. So anybody who tells you it takes 26 weeks to make a DVD is wrong. I can prove them wrong. I had to do it. You can do it. There's just a lot of legacy things that get in the way when you're at a big studio, and we didn't have that problem there. So we worked with Machinima on a pre-release strategy, and they had a chaptered version of our film. So every act in about 15 minutes that they released to essentially the ultimate fan base for Halo on the planet. When the game went live, there was a feature version of that essentially chaptered feature, so a long-form version that came to you on Xbox Live if you had the code. The following day it went on digital distribution, and about 5 weeks later we were in Blu-ray and DVD in Walmart. So took everything and smashed it all together, which then brings up the question of, well, how do all those windows, how is that interesting if I can get it for free on Machinima and then it's on Xbox and you're supposed to pay for it there, and then there's this Blu-ray. So we kind of layered another sort of marketing I think some of the best marketing going forward is really going to be story-driven. Like I don't watch ads anymore, and billboards I barely even see. So with every window, we worked with Machinima to have actually scripted pre-release vignettes that went in advance of the chaptered version. We had long-form documentaries that went live on Xbox when the feature-length version went on, and the DVD, I packed every single bite of room that was on that Blu-ray was packed with something different. So at every moment you got something new. You got every single storyboard we'd ever made was on the Blu-ray. You got these wonderful scripted moments on the internet with Machinima, and we saw phenomenal uptake on every window because they were all smashed together. Your audience nowadays, frankly, could care less. They want to watch what they want to watch, when they want to watch it, on the screen that's in front of them. So if that screen is the internet, you better be on Machinima. If that screen happens to be that they turned on the Xbox, then you need to be on the Xbox. And if it happens to be another screen, a tablet device or whatever, you need to be there too. And we were able to really break all of that down and do it in just frankly the most inspiring way I've ever released anything ever. With the exception of we didn't have a theatrical window, but I'm sure Ian and I will break that at some point too.
Well, the interesting thing, I don't know how many of you know really much about Machinima, but you're the biggest entertainment platform on YouTube, all born of gaming originally, and really now we talk a gamer entertainment lifestyle category, I guess is what we are. But the interesting thing John's saying about Top Gear and Final Gear is that Microsoft, in terms of the window that we took, we had the 5 episodes up for a period of time, but because they didn't want to impact too much on the unknown of it's being free on the internet first globally, is in our deal we only had the episodes 3 to 5 came down after a period of time, because they didn't know, nobody knows it's not going to impact on the international window or the DVD window, because it's been free on the internet first. And actually, I think our argument is always that it's we're very much a marketing window at the moment. It's not like the people that are watching it on Machinima are going to be the same people watching it on ZDF or ABC Australia or whatever it might be. And also because of the back end in YouTube, I can go in. So I was talking to the international company the other day, said they were having trouble with South Africa, as you do. And I can instantly go in and I can tell him exactly how many people in South Africa have seen it. And, which will be... I mean, I've used the show across all the content, and the thing is that I think Lydia and her team were incredibly clever as well, was with those vignettes, which are just character pieces, but they're in world, they're not behind the scenes. Our audience sees through that very quickly, they're not that into that kind of stuff, but they were very simply shot, some of them actually pretty complicated as well, but they were just revealing what the world was going to be before we actually saw the series, and enabled us to build a cadence, and we were releasing content every Friday for 8 weeks in the run-up to the launch of the series. And YouTube it's getting there, but it's not necessarily a platform for a point of view of I'll go and see that now. But we were able to do that, and that's a model that actually we're going to replicate with Mortal Kombat 2 when that comes out in a couple of months' time. But I think the interesting thing is the difference of BBC Worldwide, who John and I worked there together for a long time. Are deemed to have the turning circle of the QE2 when it comes to changing habits and appetites. But actually, I didn't realise they were quite happy with those episodes being up there, and that's a pretty forward thinking when it comes to marketing, because nobody really knows what impact that has. Yeah.
So I guess